I wonder about this when it comes to beef. Now, maybe there's just beef. Do they literally call Drake and say, hey, dude, should we beef? This could be, you got a tour coming up.
Should we beef?
Should we? Should we beef? Kendrick calls him, hey, Drake, should we beef?
Let's beef.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Guys, welcome back. Oops, the podcast. Giulio Gallerati here, joined by my trusty sidekick and confidant, Ryan is really polite Lynch. And today we would like to welcome you to our 500th episode of Oops, the podcast.
Big day.
Big day.
Big day. 500? You see that next to your on the Apple app, and you're like, wow.
It's true, dude. It's a lot of episodes, many different iterations and moments and team members. And we appreciate everybody who's ever been involved, all the different networks we've been on. We've been independent. We've been with a network. We've been independent, network, independent. We've gone through it all, but the one consistent thing is that we have never missed an episode. Real quick before we continue on that topic, come check me out on the road. March 30th, Emmaus, Pennsylvania. That's this Friday at the Emmaus Theater. It should be really fun. 4th through the 6th of April in D.C. The 7th, the Punchline in Atlanta. 3rd and 4th of May, Detroit. 6/1, June 1st, Boston. 6/19, Portland, Oregon. And then the 3rd of August, I am in Pasadena, California. Many more tour dates will be popping up. I know I'll be back in St. Pete. I'll definitely have a New York date at some point soon too. Looking forward to all of it. Looking forward to seeing you there. So, I think it's really important, man, in life to be consistent. I know that is a very, it's almost a cliche. That's how familiar the idea of that is, but it really is true. And I think that one underappreciated part of it, or one overlooked part of it, is sometimes in order to be consistent, you will not be able to attack something at 100%. You won't always be able to be 100%. And I think that this can be an obstacle for some people, because it's like one day you crush it. Like you're on top of your game. You're feeling good. It feels good to feel good. And you get so much done. It's amazing. It's impossible to operate at that high level every single day. And what'll happen is sometimes if people aren't feeling it, they just won't do it. And suddenly a lot of time goes by and you just haven't done anything. So instead of deciding that you need to do some extraordinary thing or have an extraordinary energy level to pursue something, you just sort of got to try your best. And that, to me, is at least directly related to comedy. That has been the main factor that dictates whether or not people are successful. Are they able to attack it consistently? Taking long breaks, long periods of time off, or sort of like going through the motions, but not really being there for a long period of time. Like these sort of things are the death sentence versus the people who are successful. And look, the success might come easier to people because if it's a little bit easier for you for whatever reason, right, that may make it easier to attack it. So to some degree, you have to be durable and you have to be able to sort of take the punches. You know what I mean? It's because if things aren't going well for you, how are you able to execute, right? Are you sitting there thinking about the legacy of your failures? You know what I mean? Your failures are behind you. They shouldn't matter. They shouldn't inform your decisions moving forward other than lessons that you've learned. You shouldn't be sitting there with the legacy of your failures haunting you. I have failed, therefore I will fail. Those things do not need to be related to each other, right?
No.
Does this make any sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. We have a therapist, Giulio.
And look, this is not even just because I have been going to therapy. This has nothing to do with that. This is something that I was just thinking about this morning, because sometimes I assume that a task that I have to do is going to take me so long, so I don't even do it because I don't think I have enough time to do the whole thing instead of just doing some of it. Mm-hmm. And usually if I sit down to do some of it, I can actually do all of it. Things typically take way less time than you think, way less expertise than you think, and nobody is as much of a genius or an expert as you assume or you think. You are closer to being able to do it than you think. So hopefully that is little bit of inspiration. I don't know how applicable that is to everything, but it could just be even your personal goals that don't have to do with your work life, whether it's fitness or whether it's whatever it is, whatever little project you have, chipping away at it will make it happen. And time flies. And, doing a little bit over time, before you know it, you're going to be really amazing at it. So anyway, that's my little lecture to start off the show.
It's not a lecture.
Hope that's helpful.
It's very applicable to any facet of anybody's life that's listening right now.
Hopefully a nice and helpful and welcome lecture.
I think it's a welcomed lecture. I think it was very well received.
Good. Lynch, I'm happy to
by
hear
everybody listening to it. No, seriously. Yeah, isn't there a quote about perfection is the death of...
Yeah, I've heard. I know
you got to
what you're
help
talking
me
about.
out with the
I don't
last
know it.
70,
Let's look it up.
last 25% of it, but it's a good quote.
Perfect is the enemy of good.
Yes.
That's one of them.
Perfect.
I've heard a couple versions of this.
We had like 80% of the words there.
I'm sorry. I was reading this when you were saying what you were saying. Can you say it again?
No, I was just saying in the eyes of content, and I know everybody can apply this to whatever they're doing, but if I want to post the perfect video and I get in my head about all of the nitty gritty and the details and making sure that it goes exactly how I planned it.
Right.
More often than not, I'm not going to get anything done.
Totally, dude.
And I'd be better off posting 4 good videos than 0.
Right.
Or 1.
Totally.
Consistency is key.
Totally, man.
And that is your welcomed lesson to welcome you to the 500th episode of Oops.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Hey.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Shout out to everybody who's been involved.
Congrats to all of you.
Yeah, everybody anybody who's listened to every single episode of this show, we love you so much. Like, what the fuck? That's so sick. Yeah, great lesson. Here we are still doing the pod. Excited to be doing it.
I like the opening lessons.
They're nice.
They are nice.
They're nice, Lynch. Tennis is really always a really good way to look at this, at life. I know there's some book about that or whatever, but there are just really easy applicable lessons. I think about sometimes the guy who reached number 1 in the world or whatever, or he had a huge year. He was number 5 in the world and now he's number 30. It must be hard to stay motivated. You've tasted the top of what it feels like to be at the top of the game, right? You've been on center court. You had people painting their titties with your name on it. You've had the big endorsement deal. And now the next year your sponsor dropped you and now you're playing on court 3 at 11 a.m. You're the first match on. People kind of forgot about you a little bit. It must be hard to stay motivated thinking, my time has come and gone. Mm-hmm. But there's no reason why you can't get back there if you want. I mean, in that situation, I guess it's directly, your success is directly related to all sort of how well you'll experience it. You know what I mean? If you're number 1, it's better. It's just better. You make more money. Everybody loves you, blah, 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 blah. If you're number 40, a little bit less. You know what I mean? Less money, less this, less that. Maybe you've overextended yourself. Maybe you started spending too much money when you were number 1 and now you're whatever it might be. I think it's interesting to watch these tennis players who remain motivated and who keep trying, even if, they may not be able to get to where they were.
Yeah. A great example of someone that had to wait their time to make it to the top, not necessarily was at the top and then got pegged down a layer or a tier. Jennifer Coolidge. I mean, in the early 2000s and the late 90s, a lot of side roles, primarily depicted as a sexual character. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that was tough that you're typecast to only play those types of roles. And years went by, and then she got casted for The White Lotus, wins her first Emmy.
Yeah.
Then does White Lotus season 2, wins her second Emmy. She's and she's older, so her reaching the mountaintop has come much later in her career, and I wonder what her mindset was in at least 10 years, maybe 15 years of the ebbs and flows of these minor roles. Wondering,
even
is
longer, bro.
Is this the top for me? Mm-hmm. Am I capable? Will I be given the opportunity to have a role where I could win? Mm-hmm. And really be respected and favorable amongst everybody. And I'm she's a fighter. I don't know exactly what she did, but she had to do something. She had to have some sort of mental fortitude to be able to make it 15 years before that big break.
Right, totally. Is she in Waiting for Guffman? Can you look that up? I forget if she's in those Christopher Guest movies or not.
Waiting for
Guffman. Guff.
No, I don't see her in that.
Well,
Catherine O'Hara is maybe.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I forget which of those kind of movies she's in, but I do remember she was in American Pie, which, by the way, so that movie came out, I think, in 1998. I think 1998, maybe 2000.
I'm gonna guess 1999.
Okay.
99.
Well done, Lynch.
Thank you.
So it's funny that the two biggest stars from that movie currently are the two old people. Eugene Levy and Jennifer Coolidge by far have the biggest careers at the moment of anybody in that movie. I think. I mean, Natasha Lyonne's pretty big, but she's not as big as the rest of them. Jason Biggs, not really. He sort of had his heyday back then. It seems like. Sorry, I'm not trying to I'm sure his second wind is right around the corner, and I think he's done really well for himself. Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
So
regardless, I'd love to know what she was telling herself during those years, and maybe she was completely fine and was totally happy, and she probably had some, probably had steady income with her career compared to others, but she's the example that I think of that's like really big break, tippy top in recent years.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think that, and I think this is different for different people, but I think that some people are perfectly happy as long as they're making any kind of living doing it. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to be, they don't have to do some side unrelated job that they don't like. That's making it to some degree. I certainly feel that way. But I know that there are some people who are not happy until they can make it big, big, big. And I wonder what that's like for them. But to your point, it seems like she was always busy doing something. So, but in that first Emmy speech, man, I don't know.
Yeah, like that's what made me think of. She really poured her heart out in that speech.
So that's the one nice thing about entertainment versus sports is that as long as you're alive, you're sort of able to be pretty competitive. Whereas in sports, you really do have a shelf life.
Yeah.
And that's got to suck because it must be hard to recreate the thrill of winning a Grand Slam or winning a championship or whatever it is. And I know a lot of those guys, do other shit and they start businesses and they do other like kind of competitive leaning things. But yeah, man, I don't know. So the one thing I will say though, is if you ever make it really big, theoretically, you're able to make enough money that at least you have the money as a consolation if you are to start to sort of fade a bit. But you see these guys continuing to work. So it makes you think, I don't know, maybe they just want to keep making money. Maybe they didn't make enough money. Maybe they were spending too much money and now it's hard to keep up the lifestyle. I don't really know. This is applicable to my life currently in a way, other than the obvious way, but like I just moved into a more expensive apartment. It's a wonderful, and I'm loving it. You know what I mean?
As you should. It's beautiful.
It's great, right? It's feeling good to be here, and it's feeling, it's feeling good to like, my brain feels like it's functioning better. Which hopefully will, will prevail over the stress of having more expenditures every month. But anyway, that's a little life lesson or whatever it was for today. Us contemplating the path to success, trying to make it feel good.
Giulio's eulogy.
I love talking about this, as you guys know. But let's move on.
This episode of Oops the Podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp.
What a great service. It's a completely online service that can match you with a therapist if you decide that you would like to get in the mix there. I have an appointment coming up. I signed up. I'm very much looking forward to it. I have always been a big fan of therapy. I have never actually tried out doing it completely online, but the process up to this point has been very advantageous in my opinion. It's flexible, it's specific, and instead of like going to a place and being like, oh, I want to do therapy, and they just like match you up with somebody, and then it can be weird to like switch or be like, that person isn't my type.
Not your vibe.
You know what I mean? And it can be awkward, man. It's just it can be such a personal thing that sometimes it's nice to approach it very delicately. And I think that this does a good job of this as far as the vetting process goes and picking somebody. You answer all these questions. You talk about what kind of styles and techniques might work for you or that you might like. You can also pick the gender or a specialty of someone. And I'm pretty confident that I've been matched up with somebody solid. I'm excited for my first appointment. And look, me wanting to go is no indication of my current state either. I had been in therapy previously for years, and it was a great thing. It was wonderful, no matter how I was feeling. So I don't think it's a thing that should be felt weird about. Like, you shouldn't feel weird about going. I don't think it means that there's any sort of problem with you if you decided something that you want, and you'd be amazed how much of your potential you can unlock. Or if you do have problems, it might help you kind of get through them. So that's my spiel about therapy, but BetterHelp is great. It's entirely online, and you just fill out a brief questionnaire, and then you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge, and it's not that big of a deal. And I think that process, I suspect, we'll see, hopefully I won't have to do it. I'll be happy with whoever I get matched up with, but I suspect that process is much better when you only have to do it online. Mm-hmm. So anyway, learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/oops today to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/oops. Lynch had a surprise birthday party this weekend. It was a lot of fun. It's unclear to me to what degree he was expecting what he walked into, and I want to hear about it.
Yeah, so I turned 28.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, Victoria threw me a surprise birthday party, and I was completely shocked. A few years ago, I told Victoria how excited I was for my 28th birthday. My address growing up was 28. My birthday's on the 28th. That's my golden year, I believe that's what they call it. So I was always looking forward to my 28th birthday, and she was well aware of that, in which I told her, I said, I want a surprise birthday party for my 28th birthday years ago. And she said, okay, that's the last I want to hear about it. Don't ever bring it up again.
Did she literally say that?
She said that.
Okay.
And last year around my birthday, I kind of was like, I'd love to have a birthday party, maybe a surprise birthday party for this year. And then she's like, okay, don't talk about it. If you want a birthday party, I don't want to hear about it. Stop thinking about it. Don't get involved. If you want me to do something, shut up and be ready to not think about it so you can be surprised, and don't think about it every fucking day. And then I ruined that. I just kept talking about it. I was like, well, if we do this, we have to include them.
When was this happening?
A couple months before.
Okay.
So anyway, Victoria's like, Ryan, no birthday party for your 27th. 28th, we're throwing you a surprise. Don't fucking think about it. And I said, okay. And I bought into it because it's my big year.
Great way to get someone not to think about it, by saying, don't think about it. All you will do is think about it.
And so about a month ago, Victoria and I just got back from our vacation, and we have a lot of weddings this year.
How many?
Right now we have 6. We have I'm going to 2 bachelor parties in Texas this year, and it's just an expensive year. We have a lot of expensive stuff going on. And so I know to rent out a space for a private birthday party, because they typically don't give out free spaces at bars unless you have a big tab, we're talking maybe $1,000 at least. And I said to Victoria, I just went up to her, because she was telling me, like, hey, your birthday's around Easter. Like, if we want to get dinner, we should do it on this date. And then that's when I said to her, I was like, okay, yeah, we get dinner, you and me, whenever. By the way, let's pull the plug. If you're thinking about doing anything, let's pull the plug. This is about a month ago.
Did you say that to give her the chance to do it still? Or
No.
you meant it?
I really meant it.
Because you're like, we've been spending a lot of money, blah, blah, blah.
I really meant it. There was no like...
But why?
Because I was like, I know we have an expensive year.
Right.
And this is silly to throw a grown man a birthday party when it's just a ton of money, and it just doesn't make sense right now. And so I wanted to get ahead of it before she planned anything out, because though Victoria is very fiscally responsible, I did feel like she might make a few, she might look past the finances to make this happen, because it's my big 28th birthday. And I just said to her, it's like, please don't, let's get dinner, like 5 or 6 people. and like that. And I really mean it. And I really meant it. And so she's like, okay. She's like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. She's like, yeah, it's crazy. We're on the same page. So going into Saturday, the way that they got me, the way that all of you got me was that I asked my buddies to go into the city to watch some March Madness. Everyone had excuses not to, except one of my best friends, Pete. He was like, I'll meet you in the city. We met. We got a couple drinks at one bar, went to another. We watched the Oakland basketball game with
Kentucky?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we watched that game that went into overtime. And then we headed over to meet up with Victoria and our other friend. The two of them had dinner, quote unquote, and we were planning on getting drinks, and it was going to be the four of us.
Nice. Okay. So you believed that when you were arriving?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and I remember, so we were there, Hill Dog and I. We were at the party awaiting Ryan's arrival, where he was going to be surprised. Met a couple of your pals, met your brother and his girlfriend. Your brother's a character, funny guy. I really enjoyed talking to him. Like, nobody has like given him a reason to like doubt himself yet, which is really nice. It's nice to hang out with a person like that. He doesn't have, he's not like, is the way I'm talking going to make me sound, he like doesn't appear to have that.
Yeah, he is just excited.
He is, he is not thinking like that about you, and therefore he's not thinking like that about himself, which is a really nice quality. He's there. What you see is what you get. He's friendly. He means it. And therefore he gives himself the benefit of the doubt as well. And he is open to doing whatever he wants and doesn't care. And I really like it.
Yeah, I appreciate
I respect
that.
it. I enjoyed talking to him a lot. His girlfriend was cool too. So anyway, we're sitting there waiting for you. And it was funny because they're like, he's on the fucking subway. Are you serious? Speaking of being fiscally responsible. Mm-hmm. So Ryan was taking the subway up to the party. Then they walk in and Ryan's boy walks into the back room where the surprise was supposed to happen because Ryan needed to pee-pee. And he's like, what, am I going to stop him like at this moment right before the surprise? So when you walked into the room, I've been surprised recently and I remember how disorienting of a feeling it was. What did it feel like for you?
That's a good question. I can't remember the last time I was surprised. It was weird. I'm probably 10 feet away from the big room where everybody is kind of standing in like a semicircle. And I just made eye contact with a friend that I was not expecting to see. And I was like, oh, sweet. It's JoJo.
Before the surprise?
As I'm walking into the surprise after I went PP.
Got it.
And I'm like, oh, JoJo. Cool. And then I start to hear a loud like, surprise. Yeah. And then I, maybe it took a second. And then I saw you and I saw friends from out of town and Victoria and my brother. And it was, I'd say 5 seconds of like a weird feeling.
It's weird. It's weird.
5 seconds of a weird disorienting feeling that I quickly was able to shake off and then just get to just enjoy. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. But it was a weird feeling for a few seconds. How has it made you feel in the past being surprised?
It is weird. It's successfully been done twice to me.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the two specific occasions. There's been a couple of times where people tried to, and I kind of figured it out beforehand. Which I've learned, by the way, if someone's surprising you and you figure it out, shut the fuck up. Don't tell them Just go along with it. They're doing something nice for you. Don't ruin it. And I remember the last time I figured it out, I was in the process of ruining it. And Hillary like kind of snapped at me. This is a long time ago. And I was like, oh, she's right. I was like, she's right about this. She wasn't even the one directly facilitating the surprise, but I like figured it out. Anyway, so the two times where I've been surprised, when I was a kid, my parents had a birthday party for me on Halloween, even though my birthday's in May. For whatever reason, I must have been sick or something happened where they're like, we're going to have a birthday party for him before, he wasn't able to have his birthday party. So that was a huge surprise. And then my dad surprised me. And this was the thing we talked about on the pod, but I was like, I think it would be really funny to have like a child's birthday party at this pizza place because there was like a party area that no one was ever in. And I was like, it would be hilarious to have like party hats and dinosaurs and ice cream cake and to have a birthday party. And my dad did it for me. And I was so resistant. He wanted pizza so bad. And it was one of those days where like I had been eating like shit all weekend and I really wanted to eat something healthy. And he's like, come on, can we get pizza? It got to the point where I started getting pissed. I was like, dude, it was like 100 degrees. We were just like sitting around killing time for no reason. They had this wonderful surprise plan for me. But I started to get nasty. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this. This sucks. So I like go into the pizza place. I'm all grumpy. And then there are a bunch of people there and they surprised me. And it was like caught with my pants down, like crazy moment. So anyway, but it's not my fucking fault, dude.
No.
So anyway, but you had a nice night?
Yeah, it was a good night. In retrospect, my one friend, I was so naive and oblivious and gullible for these excuses. My one friend, who's a newer friend, texted me saying that he couldn't watch basketball because he was going to Alaska to hunt wolverines with his uncle. And I gave him the like emoji. I was like, oh, dude, have fun. I didn't know that you hunt wolverines. No idea if that's even legal.
That is hilarious.
I was like, dude, have fun. I'll probably see you next week or something.
What a preposterous fucking lie. I mean, that's a lie you tell when someone asks you to your face. He had time to prepare that. He texted you that? Okay, dude, I was today years old when I found out wolverines were even a real thing. Are they?
I think they are.
And are they in Alaska even?
I don't even know, but it was a reference to Napoleon Dynamite. So I don't, yeah. So, but even that went over my head because I didn't even, I just said, oh, have fun. Have fun killing animals this weekend.
Hilarious. Look it up.
In
Look
Alaska.
it up.
What, whether or not Wolverines are real?
Are Wolverines real? And where do they typically live?
Are Wolverines real?
I think they are real.
Yeah, they are real.
Like a weasel type of thing?
Yeah, they're in Washington, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and they primarily reside in Alaska.
Oh, okay, good. So
at least it was an accurate fabrication.
Yeah, they kind of look like badgers.
Yeah, they look a little scary. Another thing, it was the Saturday of this birthday. It was pouring out.
Oh yeah,
and
all day.
Victoria was like, let's go grocery shopping. And I was like, ew. Saturdays are not for grocery shopping.
Agreed.
Saturdays are not for doing laundry.
Agreed.
That's why there's Sunday. And Victoria and I jokingly fight about Vic's like, we have a busy Sunday. We have to do laundry today. And I'll be like, no. Because doing laundry in our building is a pain in the ass because there's an app and you have to upload money to it from your credit card and then you got to tap it. It's a bitch. But grocery shopping in the pouring rain, double whammy. I was like, no, I'm not going grocery shopping today.
Fuck that, dude.
And then she was like, no, we really should. Let's just bang it out. And I was like, for like a few minutes, I was like, fuck this shit, dude. This is stupid. And we're walking in the pouring rain to Whole Foods. We go grocery shopping. We walk home. The bags are soaked. The food is soaked. And I'm just wondering to myself while we're in line, like, why the fuck are we doing this today?
Why were you doing that?
We were doing it today. We were doing it on Saturday in anticipation of me having a terrible hangover on Sunday, in which we would need groceries, but it would make sense to just get it out of the way.
Interesting.
And so in retrospect, I was like, that was a good idea.
Interesting.
That was a great idea.
But classic, like needing to make the person being surprised pissed off.
Yeah.
In the process of doing wacky shit to protect the surprise.
Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't too mean or angry. It was more a joking, playful banter with her. But I was like, no, I hate being here. I hate going to the grocery store. It's not fun.
I hate it too. Ryan, I've really been enjoying wearing my Dr. Motion socks.
While you're walking around in Brooklyn?
They're just the best. Yes, while I'm walking around Brooklyn. I now have a long walk to the train, which I've been really enjoying. Mm-hmm. It's just under a mile. And, putting on that kind of mileage over time, you want to have the right gear to support your body, the right sneaks, and especially the right socks. And that's why I love the Dr. Motion. The mile compression socks are designed to be used every day by everyone to keep their fast, healthy, and comfortable feet feeling good. The wide range of designs and silhouettes are at a nice, affordable price that ensures that the customers can always pick something that truly reflects their personality and individuality, whether it's the sort of high knee compression sock, the low cut sock, if you have something that requires a little bit more specialty to get your blood flow going, they have that as well. Dr. Motion is backed by science. It's a division of Soxland International, which was founded in 1986 in New York City by good old Frankie Chang.
Frankie Chang.
Love Frank Chang, the legend. He grew up in a small sock manufacturing town in Taiwan, brought his talents to NYC, and here we are. And the idea behind Dr. Motion is just to be an everyday brand, something that can sort of maximize your comfort as well as your durability as you trudge around doing whatever it is that you have to do. So going into this spring and summer, make sure you are equipped with the proper socks. The new spring and summer collection are right now launched on the website. Just visit the website, drmotionsocks.com, to check out the products and explore the new collection. Surprises are a theme today, I guess, because I have a confession to make to all of you. I was actually never intending to take Hillary to the Wiz.
The Wiz.
The Wiz was a decoy. I was trying to legitimize the decoy by talking about it on the show. I thought that maybe she would overhear it and be like, I guess we are going to the Wiz. We are actually going to Bad Bunny. Now, that may sound on the surface like it's me disguising my gift, a gift for myself as a gift for her. That is not the case. One of the gifts that I have given her since we've been together is she is now a huge Bad Bunny fan, ultimately because of me. So anyway, this Bad Bunny concert, I bought tickets for me and her, two of her friends. One of them is somebody who's away for her bachelorette weekend. So we thought it would be nice to, one of her friends and I were discussing, and we thought it would be nice to include her, which is nice. And wait,
that didn't make sense.
So
one's away.
Include her in the Bad Bunny concert, since she's not going to be there for the Bachelorette. So the Bachelorette.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll give you some more details here. The Bachelorette is the night after the concert, and the night after that is her birthday party.
Gotcha.
So she knows about the Bachelorette and her birthday party, but Bad Bunny's in town 3 nights. The Thursday night he's here, she does not have plans. So I was like, oh, cool, this will be great. I'll get her tickets to Bad Bunny. She won't know. It'll be great. So I was like saying how I was excited that I was going to do something for her. And I was like, what do you think we're doing? Like, I don't know why I got into this, but I saw in her face that she thought Bad Bunny was happening. So I decided to create a decoy. I got to the checkout of the Wiz, 2 tickets, good seats too. Took a screenshot and sent it to her. And she was like, oh, where are we going to? Like, I acted as if I thought that she was going to guess that we were going to a Broadway show. And I was like, I know you like to prepare and pick your outfits and stuff. So I figured that I would just tell you. And she's like, oh, the Wiz, really? Like, cool, yeah. And then I was trying to like upsell. I'm like, Deborah Cox. I was talking about this on last episode, right? So all that stuff. And she's like, okay. And she's still like not fully believing it. Her friend is sending me screenshots being like, did GIULIO buy decoy tickets to the Wiz?
Oh.
And her friend was like, I don't know, that would be a pretty expensive decoy. You know what I mean? And it appeared that I had bought them. So anyway, she's just still not buying it. And eventually the Wiz, so this is funny because she kept joking and being like, I guess we're going to the Wiz, like to our friends. Now the reason why I picked the Wiz, this is important. The Bad Bunny show's at 8. Did I say this in the last episode too?
You mentioned this.
Okay, so that was lying before. Now, sorry, everyone. I had to do it. I thought that she would hear the pod, whatever. But The Wiz was the only show that started at the same time as the Bad Bunny show. So all the other Broadway shows were at 7. The Wiz and like one other one were at 8. So I was like, oh, whatever, I'll pick The Wiz. I just figured that was like one she would have heard of or whatever. I was hoping she hadn't already seen it. She had not already seen it. So The Wiz it is, right? And she kept joking, being like, I guess we're going to The Wiz, like allegedly. And then, dude, we came home one night and I was like, hey, like, look, this isn't about me, obviously, but it like hurts my feelings a little bit that you like think that the Wiz is a joke. Like I did, you know, like trying to make it seem like it was hurting me that she thought that was a decoy, that I was just kidding. I was like, you know, maybe maybe it won't be a great show or whatever, but like, it does hurt my feelings a little bit. She fully bought it, dude. That was the moment where she fully bought it. The problem is that 24 hours later, she realized there was a Bad Bunny show on Thursday. And she started telling her friend, she's like, what the fuck? How are we not going to Bad Bunny? Like, I guess we're going to the Wiz, but like, and if that's really, she's like, if that's really what we're doing, that's fine. I'll go. But like, I really want to go to Bad Bunny. And at that point, her friend was like, you should probably tell her. So I told her.
Nice.
So now she knows. She's excited. We're going. I got a couple more surprises up my sleeve for her B-Day, but we are looking forward to going to the show. It should be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Did you get to tell her in person?
I texted it to her, which was like equally fun. You know what I mean?
That's nice.
She said she started crying. She cries easily.
I'm glad that she bought you saying that you were a little upset about the wins.
I know. She
That's
was
fun.
And then we were kind of talking through it all. So, ultimately a pretty funny and good surprise. Guys, if you've gone to the concert, don't tell me anything about it. I don't look at the set list. I don't want to know. I want to be surprised when every song comes on. Cause like somebody DM me, they're like, oh, when he did this song, he did this. I didn't want to know that. I didn't want to know. So don't tell me anything if you're listening, please.
When he does the wardrobe change after the 4th song.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
you don't like any spoilers.
I don't like spoilers. I didn't even realize I haven't been to a concert that was sort of that big before I went to see him at Washington National Stadium. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that the set list existed for that show. So like, I guess people look at the set list and then there are surprises still within that. He'll play something different one night or he'll have a special guest, but like, I don't want to know anything. Mm-hmm. Anytime a song came out, I was like, oh my God, he came out to this one song. It's called Moscow Mule. That's how the show started. I was like, oh my God, like it was so sick. So I want to preserve that. So I'm not looking at any of this shit.
What percentage of his discography could you confidently sing 50% of? I just did a percentage within a percentage, but I think you get my gist.
I get
right?
what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I would say, man, it's tough. I mean, there's songs that like, all right, if there's like 20 songs on an album, like there's 5 that I just straight up never listen to, say. I like never, they're not in my rotation. It's just like didn't hit me the right way. It's just like not the song I'm in the mood for ever. So I never listen to it. Mm-hmm. So I won't know any of those. Since I don't speak the language, it is harder for me to learn a song in theory. So, but I listen to them enough that I end up sort of learning them to some degree, some more better than others. Or there'll be one that I think sounds really good. So I'll like really try to learn it. I'll like listen to it a lot and like be trying to figure it out. So of the songs that he'll play at his show, I think last time I probably knew about a quarter by heart and a little bit more than half I could like fully sing along to with the masses, but like didn't know every single word, if that makes sense.
Okay. Let me make an addendum. An amendment
and an addendum.
Well, first off, actually,
combined.
what does an addendum mean? Does that mean a change?
Addendum is an additional thing. So like
we want to do the opposite of an addendum.
An amendment is a change.
Let's make an amendment.
An amendment is a change.
Let's make an amendment. All right. What percentage of his songs do you at least know a verse or the chorus to? Instead of 50% of the song.
Okay.
That's a more realistic.
Do I know like what? I would say almost all of them.
Okay. So then that makes going to a concert really fun for you.
Yes. But I remember thinking last time, I was like, ooh, I wish that I knew more songs well. Mm-hmm. Even though I knew a lot of them. So in preparation for this, I suspect that, now mind you, the back catalog I know pretty well at this point. So I would only need to learn the new stuff. And I think and suspect from a couple spoilers or whatever, I think a lot of the show is the new album, which is common, but it's not like an Eras Tour thing where it's just like the hits. It is more of I think like the Trap Tour, whatever. So he's playing those kind of songs. But I've been listening a lot to some of the songs that I don't know because I'm worried that I won't be able to enjoy the show as much if I don't know all the songs. Mm-hmm. So at this point, I mean, like, I'd say 3 or 4 songs I know by heart, 3 or 4 songs. I'm like, I'm getting there. And then I know like the choruses and stuff for the rest of them for the most part. So.
Gotcha. Good for you, dude. That makes the world of a difference.
It's so much fun.
I've seen clips of dads with printouts of the lyrics to Taylor Swift songs.
Oh, it's fun.
And husbands so that they could sing along with their wives and their daughters. And I do think it's a good thing that they put the set lists out.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. When I went to the Drake concert, I listened to a lot of Drake, but it really humbled me when there were 3-4 songs in a row that I just didn't know the lyrics to. And it's hard.
Did you know the songs at all?
I knew the songs. I knew them, but I didn't know them. Mm-hmm. I don't listen to them. I know they exist. I skip them after a few seconds. And I really felt excluded from the concert experience because I didn't know a verse or a little bit of the chorus of those songs. So that's it, you're gonna have a great time
Yeah.
knowing a lot of his music.
Yeah, I think so. And also, yeah, that's an interesting thing. One of her friends who's coming, the one who could not go to the bachelorette party, Rebecca, great pal,
Very thoughtful to include her, by the way.
wasn't my idea. I can't take credit for that. But thank you to her other friend, Emily, who made the suggestion. But Rebecca was like, send me like a list of songs. Like I want to try to learn some songs. And I was like, well, some of them are hard. So I made some suggestions. I was like, she's probably going to play that. If you learn that one, like that'll be fun addition to the surprise. Hillary also said, she's like, I'm surprised you told me that my friends were going to be there. And I was like, fuck, you're right. I could have fully gotten away with that. God damn it. Surprised her with the friends.
So
But
she was venting to her friend, or not venting, but she was explaining to her friend, like, why are we
Her
going to
dilemma.
Wiz?
Her dilemma.
I just found out.
because I
that
also told her Bad
Bad
Bunny
Bunny
was
was in
only
town.
Friday and Saturday,
Gotcha.
which was a lie.
Gotcha.
And
gotcha.
and she figured out that it was Thursday, I guess, somehow. It popped up on her thing or whatever. But yeah, so I gave her friends some songs to learn. And yeah, man, it makes it a lot of fun singing along. And I will say this, like when he did the concert, I knew I was familiar with every single song except one. And I was like, how have I? And everybody was losing their mind for the song. He did a cover
Oh, okay.
of some like Latin song. So it's funny, like when you are a fan of this genre the way that I am, there are gaps in your knowledge because you don't have the same foundation. I haven't listened to, Latin music my whole life. So some like big hit oldies I would never know about. I also don't know about any of the gossip because it's all in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can find it if I know about it initially and then I look, but it can be hard for me to like figure out who has beef, who has this, who has that. Which, by the way, two things I want to talk about in regard to music. One of them is beef. Right now, Future and Metro Boomin just dropped an album that's called We Don't Trust You. And they are like coming at Drake. They're coming at him. And there's all these conspiracies too that like the track list is purposely named the opposite of a bunch of Drake songs. Kendrick has a verse on one of the songs where he's dissing Drake and J. Cole. It's just very Mercury and retrograde behavior. It's stuff that's odd.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time Kendrick to me has ever sounded like out of touch.
Like a petty high school.
Like when
Vibe.
Eminem will try to make some like song criticizing the way things are. He just sounds old now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he used to do it and it worked. Now he just kind of sounds like the dad trying to like, I felt that way about Kendrick. Anyway, I wonder about this when it comes to beef. Now, maybe there's just beef. And there's all these theories about Drake and Metro Boomin having beef because Metro Boomin and Drake did a song and Metro Boomin took Drake's verse off the song when he released it and Drake was mad. I don't know what's actually going on, but it seems fortuitous for Metro Boomin and Future that this beef is happening as the album drops. They obviously know this. So did they create the beef with Drake in order to help promote the album, which most streamed album of 2024 so far after a few days of being out? Is that the reason? Do they literally call Drake and say, hey, dude, should we beef? This could be, you got a tour coming up.
Should we beef?
Should we? Should we beef? Kendrick calls him, hey, Drake, should we beef?
Let's beef.
And they orchestrate this broad beef, and now they beef.
Mm-hmm.
And look, rap, like unfortunately, rap is a genre where a lot of the time these guys are talking about doing hood shit, and then there's a lot of people end up getting shot, and it's really sad. These guys appear to be above that now, and they sort of have their eyes on the prize. They're the top artists in the game. How does that beef come to be? And is it truly just sincere beef? Or is it one of those things where they all sort of realize it's going to help them, but nobody says it? And then they just lean into the beef and they do it. And they're like willing to squash it because they know that that's nice too. People like seeing evolution in conflict. So there's beef. They resolve it. They do a song. Wow, Drake brought out Metro Boomin at his concert. That'll be a nice moment in 2 years. Do they all just know this and not say it the way that on reality TV they know that people will be rewarded for acting wacky? So they act wackier.
Yeah.
Or did they literally call, hey, should we beef?
I think maybe the latter. I mean, we're never going to find out. Like, I don't know if we're not going to be able to figure that out today.
But the latter does. I think it's possible that all those things happen.
Yeah.
Right? But you think the latter does happen?
I think so. I think some recent examples, Kid Cudi and Kanye made an album together in 2018. They're tight as fuck. And then Cudi made a statement about Kanye. Obviously, Kanye has been very controversial lately, but he's been releasing music, and he made a statement how he doesn't fuck with him anymore. He's never going to do anything with him ever again. And then a TMZ reporter asked him about Kanye. Kid Cudi like pushed the camera and like screamed at him or something. A couple months go by. Kid Cudi is at whatever place Kanye's at listening to the brand new album, fully reconciled. I think they're okay. Good PR for each of them. I feel like that could have been constructed. They're tight. They know each other.
They do also seem emotional, both of them, I will say. So to me, it's not crazy that they could go from being so on the outs to completely making up. That sort of personality type is all I'm saying. Agreed. Who knows? But
the other example I can think of is Drake versus Kanye. Right around the time when Donda and CLB came out. I think that was 2022, 2021, Certified Lover Boy. They were beefing with each other, competing over the release dates. They kept delaying the release dates of their albums, and then they released them, I think, within a week of each other, and they were really coming at each other's throats.
Well, it was more Kanye. Drake was living rent-free in Kanye's head for that one.
Yeah, was that, and I think there was some single that was dropped where that was stated.
So, yeah.
Please clarify if you know more.
Okay,
on
so
'cause that's just the gist. That's what I remember from that.
One, it was like Kanye. It seemed like Kanye was trying to cause problems. He wanted to drop when Drake dropped. He wanted to go head to head, and he was just obsessed with Drake. And that's fine. That was all fine. Drake didn't seem to participate in that as much, but it was a problem when Drake was going out to Wyoming to make a bunch of music with Kanye, and he told him he was having a kid. And then Kanye told Pusha T this, and Pusha T announced that Drake was having a kid before Drake was able to announce he was having a kid, which was sort of Drake, who had kind of sort of always been the king of these rap battles. He then finally had met his match for a moment because Kanye had sold out this information, which he talked about on an interview. So that one to me, dude, seems more diabolical. Like Kanye was just doing Kanye stuff.
But then a month or two after both their albums came out, they like walked out hand in hand at some concert, singing each other's songs, like jerking each other off in front of an arena.
I know.
So I don't know.
I think Drake just wants to be loved, bro.
Yeah. Well, think about it like
he's too good and they're trying to cut him down.
Like imagine like talking shit about another comic, like bad shit about another comic on this podcast. Then they talk about it on their podcast. And then it hits social media.
Totally.
That's kind of a good thing for Oops and whatever XYZ podcast they're the host of. So maybe you give them a call before or at the end of a show and say, "Hey, let's beef." There's a mutual benefit to beefing.
We could do it.
We should just come on to the next episode and just pretend like we didn't have this conversation, and then have a super authentic call out on another comedian and just rip them to shreds, and then just pretend this didn't happen, and then let that play out. And good PR for both podcasts.
Yeah. We got something certainly to think about. A lot of the time, which is interesting, I find, and especially like being close with Pete and like knowing the specifics of how certain things are, more often than not, I find that people's theories are just so off base, and it's usually just exactly what it looks like. That is what I have experienced. When I actually know what's going on specifically with something, it's not as exciting. But still, I can't help but wonder, because it is so convenient that it helps the album promo. So what's happening? Who knows?
When I see that stuff online, more often than not, it confuses me, and I kind of just ignore it. And I feel like everyone ends up coming back together.
Yeah. And I do think too, like what I was saying before about like, you have the knowledge in the back of your head that the beef is going to help. So you just kind of go for it. I think that has to be a thing. While we're talking about this, we might as well talk about this, and then we'll do a couple of emails. But the idea of separating art from the artist, it's an interesting conversation. So the idea is this artist is a terrible person. However, the music is so good. There's a way to enjoy the music without the fact that that person is terrible mattering. That's painting it pretty black and white, but for the sake of explaining what it means, that's pretty much what it means. Now, I'll say this. I personally am not able to separate the art from the artist. if I learn something about an artist that makes me not like them for whatever reason, I struggle to listen to the music. Now, I'll say this. I don't go searching for reasons to dislike them. I don't go interviewing people about specific celebrities that I like personalities. I'm fine with being in the dark about the way that they behave. I don't need to know anything about them. I enjoy the music. I'm watching, I'm liking it, I'm listening. Great. If I, you know what I mean? Like somebody like Kanye, for example, he just says so much shit that it makes it difficult for me to like him and to listen to his music. I did listen to Vultures. I listened to it once as a chore so that I could be in the know, but I was still struggling. And I was just kind of like, this is annoying. Mm-hmm. And even in like, say that there's a chance that you're taking things out of context, right? Let's give Kanye the benefit of the doubt for a second. Let's say all the shit he was saying that was like controversial maybe wasn't as bad if you listen to the whole episode. I'm not saying that, but let's say that was the case, just for the sake of giving him the credit.
That it could be the case.
Let's just say.
Yeah.
Still, bro, the fact that the guy is constantly talking like an expert about so many things, I don't like that trait in people. So it makes it hard for me to listen to his music. But if he wasn't doing that, I would know nothing about him as a person. A lot of these big stars have to be narcissists and probably difficult people to be around. And maybe they're not that likable or they only care about themselves. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. I don't go searching for it. But once I find out, it's hard to overlook it. Especially if there's some weird predatory sex shit with children or something.
So yeah, as we're recording this, Diddy, they're raiding his house.
Crazy.
He's in the Caribbean. He's done some really bad stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll find out much more about that in the coming
not
days.
caught up on that at
It's
all, but
happening as we speak right now, as we're recording. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I completely understand what you're saying. I just like associate music with when I listen to it the first time. And so I'm not going to defend Kanye. He said egregious stuff, but I still listen to Life of Pablo because that album is important to me. And I associate that with a time in my life when I was happy. And because of what he's done, I don't think even though he's done what he's done, I still associate that album with the year 2016 and my life then. And I don't know if I can get rid of that album because it means too much to me.
No, dude, I'm not saying
I'm not.
And
but
I'm
just
also
saying. I'm saying just my take on Kanye.
And I'm not even like, let's say, like, I just think his personality type, it just has been annoying. It's annoying to me. So like, say he said the worst shit ever. Let's say I can even get past all of that. Like, he's just been annoying. Like, a lot of the time I'm like, okay, if I'm not willing to really learn and look at this thing from every angle, I'm not going to pass a judgment because there's usually too many moving parts. And it's usually like, you need to hear everybody's story, everything, all that shit. Right. But like, if I sit there and I listen to somebody be annoying, I can be like, that guy's annoying. And then I can move on from it. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just adding this to what I'm saying. And obviously some sort of heinous crime that is clearly real, that is difficult sometimes for me to overlook too. But in general, I just don't want to pay attention to how people are behaving in their personal lives. Never meet your heroes, as they say.
He has gotten to a point, I think, of no return.
So anyway, it's just an interesting conversation, the art from the artist thing. To me, it's impossible to overlook if I know too much about an artist and I've seen too much. Sometimes it can be hard for me to keep participating. It helps to like the person. You know what I mean? That's a good baseline. It's like, if I'm going to listen to this, I have to at least be neutral or like the person or think they're cool. And they're usually presented in a cool way. So it's easy to think they're cool initially. But keep enjoying that, bro. Keep enjoying you some Kanye. Okay. We should do an email before we get out of here. What do you think?
Yeah, we can do an email.
This is a nice one. This is called Sobriety Through Oops, the podcast. How nice.
That's very nice.
Julio and Ryan, just wanted to drop y'all to tell you, I've never heard that used that way. I just wanted to drop y'all to tell you how much I appreciate the work you put into the pod and how awesome the results are. Been a long time listener who also happened to have a severe cocaine addiction. The banter between you guys was a connection for me to the real world. While I wasn't actually in the conversation, I felt that I had some grounding in reality while listening to the podcast. The podcast has gotten even better with Ryan stepping up, and I look forward to the episodes even more now. Listening to episode 442 right now, something clicked in my head, and I actually decided to get clean. I can't say what was said or even if it was the content of the episode, but it hit me that I didn't need to just listen to the sophisticated banter. I needed to fix my shit and rejoin the world of sophisticated banter.
Wow.
We love to hear that, dude. It's great.
That's awesome.
Took me a while to actually get through the door of recovery, but I'm happy to say I'm 7 weeks clean, happier than ever, and still looking forward to the pod. It's good listening on the drive to or from one of my 5 weekly therapy sessions. 11 hours of therapy a week might get old, but the podcast never does. Now with sobriety, I feel capable of joining the crusade against arbitrary and random portion-sized decisions at Chipotle.
There we go.
Thanks again, boys, for everything you do to entertain us. Dude, glad to hear you're sober.
That's awesome, dude. 7 weeks, and might have been a few weeks since we got that email. So
Yeah, rocking and rolling. Glad to hear you're feeling good and doing well. Good luck. I've heard that sobriety is a journey, so wishing you the best of luck. And like we said at the beginning of the episode, consistency. So even if you fall off, get back on. And the more hours spent attempting to do the right thing, the more of a chance you have of being able to do it. If anybody's struggling with any sort of addiction stuff, find help.
I want to patch this up before we're at the point of no return. You were curious as to whether or not the zip line that I was on was actually 900 feet.
Yes, please.
So I went onto the website and I tried calling, to which they did not answer. So on the website, I looked at the FAQs. They do not clearly state that the tallest zip line is 900 feet. But I have the best information I can possibly provide to you. And it's via a TripAdvisor review.
Got it.
Okay? It was only said to us, word of mouth, that we were about to go on the 900-foot zip line, which we all saw.
We all saw.
It was 900 feet. Richard Morris, I'm just going to read his whole review. He gave it 5 stars because he said worth the money. And it probably has to do with the 900 feet. He says, we booked the morning tour, which starts at the hotel at 8 a.m. It was a really cool view. It was beautiful. And they helped us get onto the truck. The ride to the mountain is a thrill in itself. It is a huge truck and very bumpy. You even cross a river. The zip lines were better than expected, and we felt very safe throughout the tour. The views are incredible, and the 900-foot high zip line is a bit of a belly churner.
Wow.
But it was a lot of fun. And that's just one of the many positive reviews.
Good to hear.
But that was the only person that is my saving grace in confirming and putting to bed that it was 900 feet.
So this is all I'll say back to you, bro. So great. Good to know that that's out there. You, at the very least, were told that it was 900 feet, and there's no reason to not believe that. Out of curiosity, I looked this up, and I'm glad you brought this up because I forgot about it. When I Google the highest zip line in Costa Rica,
I looked that up too.
and I saw 650 feet.
Yeah, that's what I saw when I was looking it up.
Which makes me wonder, was it 900 feet long? Was it 900 feet high? Was the guy wrong? Am I wrong? Was the Google search wrong? I guess we'll never know. If anybody knows more about this, let us know. It also doesn't fucking matter. Lynch was on an extremely high zip line that was most likely 900 feet, since multiple people are corroborating it.
It was higher than King Dakar.
Higher than King Dakar, which is 500 feet, right?
I think it's 550.
And that's the highest drop in the world.
It was at the time it
Now there's another
came
one.
out. King Dakar is 456 feet high.
What's the current highest roller coaster drop?
That's a good question. It's still King Dakar.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
456 feet. So it's multiple hundreds of feet above that, not just a couple.
Like literally double. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, come see me this weekend at MAS, Pennsylvania. I am also going to be in DC 4th through the 6th. I'm in Atlanta the 7th. This is both April, sorry. The 1st of June, I'm in Boston. Also May 3rd and 4th in Detroit. The 19th, I'm in Portland, Oregon. And then in Pasadena, California, to all the LA people who've been asking. August 3rd, come check out a show at Oops the Podcast. Send us emails, oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. We appreciate you guys. So exciting. 500 episodes. Big fucking deal. What else, Lynch?
That's it. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Check me out at Ryan is Really Polite. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Take care.